teman-teman ya yang sudah bergabung pada pagi hari ini. Sebelum langkah lebih jauh, saya mau confirm suara saya bisa terdengar dengan jelas, Bapak Ibu. Boleh chat di kolom chat. Ini tadi saya lihat ada yang dari Semarang ya. Semarang hadir katanya ya. Di sini pun saya lihat dari tadi sudah banyak yang menyapa, luar biasa sekali. Ini yang hadir dari mana saja? Tadi ada yang dari Semarang. Oke, ada lagi yang dari Jakarta mungkin, Bekasi, Surabaya. Wah, ini Balikpapan ya. Yang ikut minggu lalu juga mungkin ada pasti ya. Kemarin minggu lalu kita sudah bahas ya terkait dengan Intel Edge Insight for Industrial. Sepertinya dari nama-namanya nih saya lihat ada Pak Biondi kembali hadir. Terima kasih Pak. Kemudian juga beberapa di sini juga ada peserta dari Indonesia Edge AI Challenge. Oke, ini yang hadir ramai luar biasa dari berbagai daerah, Lamongan, Makassar, Surabaya. Ya, seluruh Indonesia nih yang hadir di sini. Pokoknya kami ucapkan terima kasih banyak atas antusiasmenya, atas kehadirannya, dan tentu untuk semua yang hadir di sini, dimanapun Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman berada, semoga semuanya dalam keadaan sehat ya Bapak Ibu ya. Di tengah pandemi ini yang lagi meningkat, lagi panas-panasnya, semuanya semoga dalam keadaan sehat, semangat terus juga, dan tentu untuk menghadapi pandemi ini memang nggak mudah Bapak Ibu ya. Kita harus beradaptasi. Dan tentu walau saat-saat pandemi seperti ini roda perekonomian harus tetap berjalan ya. Bisnis harus mengadopsi teknologi yang bisa bantu nih para customer, kita pun ya sebagai customer juga ya, untuk perusahaan lain, untuk mendapatkan kebutuhan. Dan lebih tingginya lagi Bapak Ibu, di era digital kini, ini mendapatkan kepuasan dengan apa? Dengan experience service yang great, yang berbeda, cepat, gak ada hambatan. Dan kalau kita lihat dari sisi sebaliknya, dari sisi retail juga, saya yakin di sini semua ingin berkembang ya, dari tradisional retail yang rumit, gak fleksibel, gak efisien dalam hal waktu, budget ini untuk pindah ke yang serba digital. Kebayang ya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman ya, kalau kita masih adopsi tradisional retail di era-era seperti ini ribetnya kayak gimana? Sebagai customer aja malas gitu ya. Nah, tentunya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, kita nggak boleh ketinggalan, kita mau nggak mau harus transform, apalagi di saat-saat pandemi seperti ini, saya yakin para retailers pun ya, pengen cari jalan ya untuk meningkatkan revenue, mereduce cost, optimalkan operasional perusahaan. Tapi pertanyaannya dengan tantangan-tantangan seperti itu, ini gimana caranya? Dan untuk mencapai itu, Bapak Ibu dibutuhkan IoT solution, dan tentu di sini Intel Edge AI for Vision Retail, kita akan membantu menjawab tantangan tersebut dengan apa? Dengan hardware, software-nya yang tentunya bisa membantu Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman dalam mendevelop solusi untuk pindah ke digital retail. Seperti apa lebih jelasnya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman? Kita akan diskusi seru, kita akan ngobrol bareng ya, tentunya bersama dengan para expert yang sudah hadir di sini. Dan saya kasih tahu di awal bahwa memang Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang hadir di sini yang meluangkan waktu ini beruntung ya. Karena apa? Karena ini bisa langsung mendengarkan pemaparan yang mungkin kalau orang-orang mau belajar ya dengan dari Intel Corporation-nya sendiri itu susah. Tapi di sini kita sediakan tempatnya, waktunya untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman gali informasi ya, ngobrol bareng bersama dengan expert-expert dari Intel Corporation yang tentunya hadir di hari ini dari India, kemudian juga dari US. Jadi silahkan manfaatkan waktunya, kesempatannya untuk diskusi. Jika ada hal-hal yang ingin ditanyakan, silahkan untuk mendrop pertanyaannya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan ya. Mungkin ada case-case tertentu, ada kesulitan-kesulitan apa, itu silahkan untuk di-drop di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan. Nanti di sesi panel discussion, kita akan diskusi bersama, kita akan jawab pertanyaan dari Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang hadir di sini. Dan tentu untuk yang sudah hadir di sini pun, kita akan ada apresiasi ya, program Early Bird untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman tadi yang sudah join lebih awal, kita sudah akan lihat datanya dan kita akan cari 5 orang yang beruntung untuk nanti kita kirimkan hadiah uang digital. Siapa? Tunggu ya, nanti kita akan hubungi tentunya melalui nomor telepon yang tertaulut ya saat pendaftaran maupun nanti pengisian saat pendaftaran seperti itu. Dan tentunya di akhir acara Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, nanti kita juga akan jelaskan terkait dengan next training ya, karena sekali lagi ini kita ada rangkaian training yang luar biasa. Terdekatnya kapan nanti saya akan infokan di akhir acara, dan tentunya sekali lagi ini yang hadir pembicaranya luar biasa dari Intel Corporation di berbagai negara termasuk dari yang pusat. Baik Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini, sebelum kita melangkah lebih dalam ke pembahasan kita pada hari ini, Kita akan awali terlebih dahulu kegiatan kita dengan mendengarkan sambutan dari Bapak Herianto selaku IoT and Cloud Business Development Director Synnex Metrodata Indonesia. Kepada Pak Her, saya persilahkan.
Terima kasih Sandra. Selamat pagi buat teman-teman semua ya. Selamat datang kembali di acara HAI for Vision Retail pada minggu hari ini. Ya, ini merupakan serangkaian acara yang kita lakukan bersama Intel untuk mendukung teman-teman di Indonesia, khususnya para developer, para ISV yang sedang mengembangkan solusi-solusi ataupun mungkin yang sudah punya solusi. Nah, kita di sini menghadirkan engineer-engineer, tenaga ahli ya dari Intel untuk bisa membagikan ilmu-ilmunya, use case-nya kepada teman-teman semua. Harapannya tentu kita pengen ada solusi-solusi yang dari Indonesia yang memang kita bisa bawa untuk market Indonesia khususnya, dan juga kalau memungkinkan untuk kita bisa juga bawa ke market di dunia. Karena program yang kita jalankan bersama Intel ini kita ingin mendukung teman-teman untuk bisa mengupgrade diri ya. Jadi begitu banyak teknologi yang tersedia ya yang bisa diakses, dan bahkan dari Intel itu memberikannya secara gratis ya. Tapi kita butuh inisiatif untuk mengambil kesempatan ini. Kalau kita tidak ingin kalah bersaing dengan atau diserbu oleh pemain-pemain dari luar. Nah, melalui kesempatan ini mungkin saya juga sampaikan bahwa kita berkomitmen dengan Intel ya, Synnex Metrodata dan Intel berkomitmen untuk membantu teman-teman semua. Jadi rangkaian acara yang kita lakukan ini hanya awal, karena waktu yang terbatas kita tentu tidak mungkin bisa berinteraksi panjang di sini, tapi kita sangat ingin bisa berkomunikasi dengan Bapak Ibu semua, sehingga kalau misalnya dari event-event ini atau setelah event ini Bapak Ibu merasa wah teknologi ini cocok nih buat saya kembangkan, saya pengen tahu lebih dalam, saya pengen di training atau saya pengen diskusi. Kira-kira apalagi sih yang ada yang memang kita bisa kerjasama, Bapak Ibu, kita sangat welcome untuk silakan hubungi tim kita ya. Kalau misalnya nanti ada email yang di-sharing, Bapak Ibu bisa replay, nanti kita bisa diskusi lebih lanjut. Semoga hari ini dan juga serangkaian acara yang akan kita sampaikan berikutnya juga bisa terus membantu memberikan ilham kepada Bapak Ibu semua. Terima kasih, saya ucapkan selamat mengikuti, semoga kita selalu tetap diberikan kesehatan dengan kondisi pandemi ini. Terima kasih, kembali ke sana.
Oke. Terima kasih kembali Pak Her atas sambutan hangatnya. Nah, Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman tadi sudah ditegaskan ya oleh Pak Her. Tentunya ini sudah ada kesempatan, SMI akan bantu Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman belajar lebih dalam untuk mengembangkan diri. Jadi silahkan manfaatkan tentunya webinar kita pada hari ini. Jika ada hal-hal yang disampaikan, yang ditanyakan pun silahkan kita terbuka untuk nanti kita diskusi bersama dengan para expert yang hadir. Dan tentunya tadi kita sudah info di awal bahwa kita kedatangan expert ya. Ada dari India, dari US juga, and we would like to discuss about our topic today, Intel Edge AI for Vision Retail. Bagaimana nih memanfaatkan tools, hardware, dan software yang sudah disiapkan Intel. Bagaimana cara kerjanya, apa aja kemudahan yang dibawa ya untuk digital retail. Nah, tentunya kita akan lihat, kita akan saksikan, kita akan bahas. And if you have a questions during the presentation, just put the questions in the Q&A box. After the presentation, we will read it. Ya harus menggunakan bahasa Inggris, Bapak Ibu bisa juga menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Yang penting jangan lewatkan kesempatan tentunya untuk discuss bareng, untuk tanya langsung. Di sini kita sama-sama belajar ya. Jadi silahkan untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, di sini kita diskusi bersama. And for this session, will be present by Mr. Prem Chandra, now as a Asia Pacific Japan Deep Learning Computer Vision from Intel Corporation, and he will talk about Intel technology, and will be continued by Ms. Sindhu Pandian as a software engineer, customer solution engineering in IOTG Intel Corporation, who will be talking about business case, and then we will see the demo by Mr. Prem again. But first, please join me to welcome Mr. Prem Sender. The time is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra, for the intro. Let me share my screen. Yeah, thanks, Sandra, for the intro, and thanks, Intro, for the partnership with Intel, and thanks all the attendees. Good morning, and thanks for joining for this HI challenge. Today, with me, my colleague Sindhu Pandian, and we would be giving a brief webinar or talk on Intel HI for Vision, primarily for computer vision related use case in retail segment. And as part of this session, I will be giving, first 20 minutes, a brief introduction of Intel offerings more for AI in the computer vision related, both hardware and the software tools. And then followed by Sindhu will talk more about the specific use case in the current pandemic situation, which is social distancing and line monitoring and the one-way monitoring and couple of use cases. Then we would take a one particular, the same use case, how we can download and run, and I would be showing the demo in the last 45 minutes session. So with that, I will start my session. Okay, sorry, there's some glitch. Sorry, there's some problem. Okay, share my screen.
Okay, you can share your screen, and I will remind the participant. So everybody, if there is a question, just put your question in the Q&A box, yeah, not chat box. And after the presentation, we will read it. There is a panel discussion. We will answer your question. So just put your question in the Q&A box. Bisa in English or bahasa, that's okay Bapak Ibu. Jadi silahkan jika ada hal-hal yang ingin ditanyakan, silahkan mendropnya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan. Kita akan mendengarkan tentunya presentasi dari Mr. Prem terkait dengan Intel teknologi hardware dan softwarenya, terkait dengan tema kita pada hari ini tentunya ya, Intel HI for Vision Retail. After that kita akan dengarkan tentunya pemaparan dari Miss Sindhu terkait dengan bisnis case. Kita akan lihat contoh-contohnya seperti apa nih ya, perubahan-perubahan apa yang dibawa, dan tentunya nih di saat-saat pandemi ini sebenarnya apa nih yang bisa terlihat berbeda, kemudahan yang dibawa. Kita akan saksikan langsung nanti ya di presentasi, dan tentunya nanti akan diakhiri juga dengan sisi demo dari Mr. Prem. Dan silahkan mungkin nanti juga dicoba ya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang hadir di sini. And now Mr. Prem, we can see your slide. So here is your time. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, thanks for that, for that update, Sandra. Sorry, for the interruption. And so let's just move on. The notes and disclaimer, primarily, some of the optimization notice, just more from a legal. I'll just flash it for a few seconds. Yeah, so AI, as you all know, AI is a buzzword in the last few years, and it is rapidly changing many industries, and many new use cases are possible. And whether it is from industrial to retail to smart cities to healthcare, as you see, a lot of things are getting innovated, and there's a new way we can engage with our customers and deliver the new experiences. And the primary reason for this is in the last few years we have seen a lot of growth in the compute and the storage and network. It become cheap, and a lot of these use cases were primarily a science fiction in a couple of years ago, and now in real world we can see all these use cases live, and it's getting deployed in each and every country. And for example, in smart cities, I know Indonesia, a couple of smart cities are going on the projects, and whenever you wanted to detect a particular car using the license plate, and you want to detect a person who is driving it, what kind of brand of the car, what color, and you would be what rate at which the car is moving, and any traffic violations, how old is the vehicle, is it generating any smoke, which is pollute the environment. All these can be realized using AI and computer vision. So this is one of the example, but you see it like even in COVID and many other situations, this AI is being used. And the computer vision is one of the foundational, and of course the speech and NLP and other things also uh, are very very important to realize more I would say like a more fusion use case or workload consolidation use cases. So today we will focus more on in the computer vision use cases. As you have seen in the COVID time, especially since the discussion is more on the retail, there's a new way to engage, and all retailer not just provide a very great experience for retailers and the users to shop, stay and work, but there is a safe thing being added. So it is very very important, and we have seen the drive from each of the ISVs and from developer that how they can in any environment the social distancing and face mask becoming very important. You step outside of your home and you go to shop or to any hospital or anything, and a lot of places you need to touch, and that need to be quickly converted to contactless. So how the technology can help to do the self service using face recognition solution or gesture solutions, so without really touching, and we should be able to operate all of these things becoming paramount. And as you see in the retail also, a lot of stores, I think now everybody cannot go due to lockdown and many things. The stores are refitted as a delivery hubs, and due to lack of beds and many other countries, some of the hotels have been converted to hospitals, and most of them ordering from restaurants as a takeaway, some of the impacted patients. So this is so very quickly changed, and a lot of developers and the customers have adapted to this phenomena, and the technology is playing a big role. And autonomous stores becoming prominent, and the way we are working in the current situation also is changing, and I think it is opening up many new opportunities. So to realize all these things, we need a wide variety of technologies. And so yeah, the AI is foundational for this one. So the current talk we will try to address in the current situation, the more related to social distancing and other things would help you to start, and you could customize as per your need. So with that, I will move to my next slide. Yeah, so just to give you a glimpse of how the retail customer journey in the current pandemic situation, uh, uh, that the edge computing is becoming a foundational due to privacy, security, and overall the total cost of ownership in terms of the value for end customers and to the user. So as you see in the store, you have a lot of vision supported technologies, camera to understand how the customer, who is the customer who is entering, and is all a loyalty customer, is a VIP customer, what is his preference, how is his journey path, and what kind of things he's like he's more interested in, and all the things can be captured and can be provided to retailer to adjust accordingly the products. And of course the digital signages and the chat bots are becoming very very important these days. And of course you still support the traditional checkouts, but if you want to grab and go on, lockers are available, and self checkout or autonomous stores. The most of the stores, small stores, have become autonomous without any human intervention. So that has become a big phenomena, and we have a couple of solutions which we have developed and provided through our Edge software hub, which you could look at it. And yeah, of course there is a provision. Right now every shop they are providing online order pickup and curbside pickup. So these are all, I mean, how we can realize these use cases using technologies, you know plays a lot of important role, and how Intel plays in this is what we'll talk about it. And a lot of these technologies really requires some of the AI portions of it. So that is why we covered today a little bit about that. So just to move on, the next slide. Why Intel we need to consider for edge computing or for computer vision use cases? The first thing is, anytime anybody designing a solution or architecting the solution, the CPU is the foundational for any kind of compute infrastructure, because it is kind of lot of investments have been and a lot of legacy software is available. And anytime you wanted to realize something new use case, your CPU will come in very handy for you to realize, and rather than a specialist. So we should get most of the CPU, because the CPU also has a certain additional functionalities being added, like DL boost and certain other instruction set to improve the deep learning. So yeah, of course, one size does not fit all. So in certain use cases, you would need other architectures as well. So Intel can provide that, whether it is a FPGA or a VPU or GPU ASIC, as per your need, you can choose the right architecture and the platform, because the compute is the foundational for any sort of the solution. So you make a right decision in the beginning on that front. And so as an Intel, we just not provide the hardware and in partnership the ODMs, and provide that customized features and everything. But the software is like driving the hardware, and the software libraries and the SDKs and the use cases and the reference implementation or reference applications, and how we are building the pipeline to get maximum performance of our hardware is paramount. We don't want you to spend time on plumbing and the low level software optimization building a software stack. Rather, you should be able to focus on your problem statement and the differentiation what you offer. Okay, and you should be able to quickly realize it. So that's where we spend, and the tools which we talk in the later part of the session can give you a glimpse of it, what we offer and how quickly you would be able to deliver the solution. So software is very important, and how seamlessly the portability, scalability and other things we support also. So yeah, so we ensure that it's to cloud and from the low level to high level application software stacks which we are offering. And the last one, but not the least, the lead. So it is something AI is changing very drastically and rapidly, right? So today you have certain algorithms, and tomorrow there is a better algorithm which can provide a lot of better accuracy and with a low compute. So you need to be more flexible to change. And Intel is being investing a lot of money and the resources and to build a lot of tools and everything for the next generation. And we become like one of the few companies which we invest heavily on AI, and we become a center of excellence to provide the next generation AI technologies. So that will ensure that your investment doesn't go, and you don't need to stop your solution and then completely do from scratch for the next solution. So that is the kind of the advantage you get when you work with Intel and Intel based solutions. Okay, yeah, this is yeah, why Intel and why CPU is very important, and the software is very critical, and choosing the right architecture for your use case is very important for TCO standpoint. That is what I want to emphasize. And yeah, a couple of challenges. I know many other sessions you have been gone through, and a lot of people talked about deep learning. And are you all working on deep learning? I believe most of you. And but of course there are challenges in development and deployment. Hey, how do I get the data and clean the data, and how do I train it, how do I build, how do I check the monitoring and accuracy, how do I retrain, how do I give a meaningful information to the respective stakeholders. These are all like challenges. And each of the deployment, whenever you talk to your customers, when you talk to different 10 different customers, their inference needs are different. A retail store with a with the two people, or and there is a retail store like a big mall, and there are like multiple sites where you have, and the number of cameras or the number of sensors which you need to process is quite different, and so the kind of technology you need to use, and the amount of accuracy needed from customer to customer, and the kind of environment which they operate, the lighting conditions, and various other factors will play a quite challenging for the developers to really optimize and tailor the solution for that requirement. So yeah, that's where we need the tools which would aid and quickly develop and customize according to the need. So that is one solution which we worked on. And of course integration, deploying it from end to end, from training to deployment to self learning, and managing on the edge nodes how the solutions are being deployed and how we can give upgrades. So those are all couple of other challenges which you have seen. And as I mentioned, one size does not fit at all, which means that you might need to do certain things with the atom-based platforms, certain solutions with the core-based, and certain things definitely you would need a GPU, and specific cases we need ASIC as well. So as per your requirements, you would need to design and architect the solutions according to the needs of the customers, and to give a better total cost of ownership. Yeah, this is the one thing. And most of the things which we addressed these challenges is with one of the toolkit which we launched called as the OpenVino. I think most of you would have been familiar with this, at least, or maybe you're maybe using already. OpenVino stands for Open Visual Inference Neural Network Optimization Toolkit. In the late 2017, we started working something called as a computer vision SDK, and in beginning of 2018, we launched as officially to public as an open source toolkit as an OpenVino. We branded as mostly a computer vision based use cases, but as this gets adapted more and more and customers are really using this for deep learning use cases, so we expanded the OpenVino support for non-vision use cases, whether it is a speech, NLP, and audio, and various things. So now we officially call OpenVino for any kind of deep learning use cases you can use it, and for inference part. So training part is different. This is primarily for inference when you have a model which you can convert and use it through OpenVino. So this provides, this is a single interface for all Intel hardware platforms, which means any type of CPU from 6th generation and for core and for atom and for xeon and to FPGA or for movids vpu, once you write it, it's going to run, and you just need to change a flag of -d CPU to -d GPU or -d Myriad. With the change, the code would run automatically. So that really simplifies. I hope we'll be able to demonstrate today in my demo that part. And yeah, there is a lot of streamlined development, and I think not just providing more as the inference engine API, but a complete suite. Like you might need a pre-trained models, and so we offer like more than um, you know around 200 deep learning models, I think, which you can use it as is, and this is completely free. And we have annotation toolkit, and we do have a some of the transfer learning toolkit which we provide to, if at all you want to retrain the model. So these are all we provide, and we also provide a lot of samples so that you can start working on that sample and take it to your solution integration. So yeah, the philosophy is that as from Intel, once you write to OpenVino, it's bound to work for across the platform. So that is our strategy, and we take care of how to optimize for CPU instruction set to the VPU hardware acceleration to DSPs to ASIC fixed function hardware to FPGA, how to program the all the RTLs and everything. So in the bottom layers we take care, but we ensure that there is a good amount of performance for your models and you get a right FPS, and that can be demonstrated with the sample apps and the benchmark apps which are present in OpenVino toolkit. So I think you all can download. Just to I just want to give a probably. Yeah, this is whenever you install OpenVINO, I think it's available. Just type OpenVINO in Google. Yeah, you should be able to find and you can install. This is a place where you find the docs.openvinotoolkit.org. This is where the complete documentation for OpenVINO is available. This is primarily supported for Linux, Windows, and Mac OS, and you can install in multiple ways. Offline install and Docker installs and other things are available. And of course, you have more detailed tools like DL Workbench, which you can analyze your model and tweak the model. And so you would be able to find many other informations here. And of course, what kind of specific configuration or driver to be installed for MoveDS and VPUs. And yeah, so there is a more detailed documentation for how you can convert your model, how you can deploy it using our inference engine, and how to get the best performance. I don't have time to go through all of this. This would require a separate session, and we do have a very good videos, training videos on YouTube. When you type OpenVINO, you would be able to find most of it. And so I'll talk when I'm presenting the demo. I'll talk briefly about some of the things how we have used here. Okay,
sorry, Mr. Prem, sorry. I just want to inform, maybe your screen not changed. Now we can see the slide about why Intel distribution of OpenVINO toolkit, or is it right?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you so much, Mr. Prem.
Thank you, yeah. Okay, so I was just showing something like OpenVINO. I don't know whether everybody has seen that. Okay, so I'll just move on. Okay, yeah. So one thing is the OpenVINO provides a lot of performance improvement. Just not just taking advantage of our hardware from generation to generation, from 8th generation to 9th, 9th to 10th to 11. Okay, each generation we offer a good amount of performance improvement along with our software optimizations. In OpenVINO also contributes to a lot of performance improvement. So in the beginning, when we released the first release of OpenVINO in 2018, and when we compare the same MobileNet SSD right now in 2019 R3 release itself, we got like 25.6 excess performance improvement. And probably when today's release, which we have just launched, I think today on 2021, for LTS version, I think would give definitely more than 40x performance. So it's not just the hardware, but the software and the layers we keep optimizing it and giving a very good performance improvement. So you should always, we recommend to use the latest version of OpenVINO so that you take full advantage of our the optimizations what we provide and the new hardware features as well. Okay, and so just in interest of time, I would like to introduce so how you develop and how do you access all these tools. So we have created Intel Edge Software Hub. Okay, and this gives us any of the package at Intel we are developing, with one-click installation without going through a lot of legal and other things. You can accept the license and you can quickly download most of the software development kits, which we call as the packages, and the reference implementation, sample application, and the use cases. All of them can be downloaded as a single one-stop hub for any of the software thing. So which would reduce your development cost, because these are all pre-validated and already a kind of production quality in some extent in some of the cases, and also would help you to accelerate as like in previous Harish mentioned, how we can also create these solutions like a RRK or MRS kind of thing. You take it forward and customize it a little bit, and you can tailor to your customer needs, and you can take forward. So I'll just show this is your now you can see my browser window, Sandra.
Okay, I want to inform, maybe you can full screen for your slide. I just only, I can see your, there is a 22 slide, but so you can full screen or more display.
Prem, we're not able to see your browser. I think he wants to show some demo, Cassandra. So just
okay.
clarifying that, yeah, we're only seeing your presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can see the Intel Software Hub.
Yes. Yep, we can see.
Yeah. So, okay. So, team, anybody who's interested, wanted to understand more Intel Software Hub and what are the features. And today, this is a single one-stop hub for to download all the use cases and the packages. As I mentioned here at the end, you see we have a software package which we call as also SDKs. So Edge Insight for Vision for completely any vision-based application. We have like OpenVINO, DL Streamer, and Cloud Connector for both AWS and Azure, and you have Docker and Kubernetes, lightweight Kubernetes. All of them are pre-validated and a single package you'd be able to download, so you don't need to worry about how is the compatibility between the package and everything. So we offer this one, and we do have a specific the package for industrial use cases, both time series and the video. And we do have a Converge Edge Insight. This is a package which was exclusively to develop a network 5G based applications on the edge side. And yeah, this is a lot of exciting space, and we have a couple of use cases and reference implementation which you can explore. And of course, if you're working for industrial and where time critical is very, very important, and so this edge control for industrial is another one, so that you can get a real-time performance, a hard real-time requirements. If you have, you can get that. And we also have a SDK for Edge Insight for Fleet. So you just click configure and download and accept the license, and you can follow the documentation step by step to install this thing. And we also have, apart from the packages, some of the reference implementation. Suppose if you want to develop an automated checkout or rotor bearing or intelligent traffic management.
So sorry, I just want to inform you, this is still your slide presentation, not your browser.
I'm still doing my browser.
But we can we see the slide only, not the browser.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Okay.
You can see browser or no?
No, we still see your slide, the 11th slide about why Intel Edge Software Hub. No, but we cannot we cannot see your browser.
Now?
Still, maybe you can switch your share screen to your browser.
Okay. Okay, let me share to all the attendees the link so that they can see.
You can stop your share screen first. Okay. And now you can share screen again, but for your browser.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Now.
Okay, you can see now?
Yeah, we can see your browsers now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
So that, yeah, so sorry if apologize, for not checking before. Yeah, as I was mentioning, these are the software package at the bottom. You see it, Edge Insight for Vision, as I mentioned, OpenVINO, the DL Streamer, and your Cloud Connector for both AWS and Azure, and as well as, you have a Docker and Kubernetes package pre-validated. It's available for download. And if you're building time series or video use case, you can, download this package and just press configure and download and follow the documentation link. And this is like a for 5G and network application. If you're building, this would be very, very helpful. And so yeah, this is very, very interesting. We have a couple of reference implementation which you can follow. And if you're really looking for real-time kind of use case, a hard real-time use case in industry for robotic control or any other use cases, you can even download this edge control, and we do have a couple of samples. and which you can follow. And even for transportation, driver monitoring, or for some of the other traffic management related use cases, you can use the Edge Insight for fleet. So all these packages are available, and along with that, just to show you how to develop application, we have developed a couple of reference implementation, like intelligent traffic management, rotor bearing defect detector, automated checkout, all of them developed using some of the packages and open source combined with Intel software as well as with the open source package we developed. And these are all completely free, royalty free. You can download and accept our license, and it's free to use and customize and take forward to your customers as per their needs. And you can make a RRK, which is a Intel RFP ready kit or a market ready solutions, and our team can help to promote your solutions jointly with Synnex and other partners. And today, so you can see more about the use cases and reference implementation by going through the next set of pages. And today the discussion would be more on the social distancing for retail setting. This is a one use case we want to present, so that you have an idea how to download, how to run, and why we have developed this reference implementation or application. So I'll hand over to Sindhu to explain what is the reason and that why we focused on this thing, how this is how well this is received by customers. So Sindhu, over to you to talk a brief business case related to social distancing. Once Sindhu has completed the presentation, I will demonstrate this reference implementation. Thank you.
Thank
What
you.
is Sindhu?
Thank you. One second, I'm going to show my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Prem, for your presentation. And now we will move to another presentation from Ms. Sindhu. So please share your screen.
Are you able to see us?
Huh? Sorry.
Are you able to see that?
Yep.
Okay, we can see you, but
not presentation.
For your slide. Okay, you can share your screen about your presentation.
I
just share screen. And I also want to remind everybody in here, Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, selama presentasi, jika ada pertanyaan, mohon untuk mendrop pertanyaannya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan ya, jangan di kolom chat. And now, okay, Miss Sindhu, we can see your slide, and this is your time. This is your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Sindhu Pandian. I'm here to showcase our solution, retail pandemic reference implementations, and how to tell you the story of how we've been able to release our project on Edge Software Hub, as been clearly explained. Edge Software Hub has been our gateway to reach our end customers easily, and we were able to seamlessly deliver our project to you guys. I'm very thankful for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for being supportive. I work in the customer solutions engineering team at Intel in the IoT group. So I just would like to give a brief introduction of what that means before I go forward with the presentation. So what our team does is we've been working with Fortune 100 companies for several years now, and we've been providing IoT solutions to our customers. It started out with working with big verticals like industrial, retail, healthcare, in all these verticals. But last year when the pandemic struck, we had already been working on vision solutions, and we took it as an opportunity to do something from what we know. So we've been using the vision solutions. We've been using video cameras to track information, infer data from that, and we've been providing that kind of solutions to customers all over the world. So I figured this is a good opportunity for us to, step up. So what we did, show you. So what we wanted to do is, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and it was difficult to go out and live a normal life after. So we decided that we're going to make spaces safe again using these Intel-powered AI technology, and we created vision applications for safer spaces to allow the public and private entities to safely reopen and resume operations. So we were hearing that, businesses were really struggling to reopen. There were a lot of small businesses that were closed down because of the pandemic. They were not able to safely reopen because the government put mandates on having, store capacity, without proper social distancing rules. None of the retail stores were, allowed to reopen. So when a global pandemic like this strikes, when people needed to quickly adapt, and they wanted to interact with the society, they had to resume activities. So businesses had to uphold a higher standard while, people quickly adapted to a new normal. So as you can see here, there were tons of articles about how technology was helping in putting safe options, safe guidelines in order to maintain social distancing and allowing the world to reopen again. So as you can see, from all the news articles that we have, showcased here, airports were struggling because they couldn't maintain social distancing with the crowds that they were having. Hotels and restaurants were struggling to reopen. And during this post-pandemic time, when the world was going to reopen again, we wanted to have a solution that would help everyone's lives get relatively back to normal again. So we did a little bit of research on all the industries that were struggling to reopen, and we found out most of the customer pain points revolves around social distancing, right? So for example, if you look at retail, we knew that most of the shifts were happening to online shopping, curbside delivery, pickup, things like that. People did not have to go back into stores again, but this was a very small population of people who knew how to do that, who were comfortable enough to do that. Here, governments also required shutdown of non-essential businesses, decreased priority for customers, occupancy limits for social distancing rules, etc. When it comes to restaurants and hospitality sector, there were very limited customer confidence because other people handle your food and you don't know who is infected and who isn't, and even in hotel businesses. So it was very hard for people to trust and start going into restaurants again. PPE requirements were mandated on restaurant workers, on hotel workers, etc. But government was always mandating occupancy limits and social distancing rules here as well. When it comes to transportation, I'm sure this would have been a worldwide problem because tons of people take everyday transportations. Not everyone has the luxury of having their own vehicles. So, there were government mandates on restriction of travel between countries internationally, in some countries, even between other states, right? So here as well, we had social distancing rules, PPE requirements, and crowd management procedures. So we were thinking if there is a way to have a camera in a train or in a bus stop, and if we're able to find out if people are socially distancing or not, it would be easier for the governments to allow places to reopen and allow transportation, facilities to reopen. When it comes to manufacturing, the short-term impact were on workforce for demand fluctuations, but enforcing updated safety policies were also important. So these were all the customer pain points that we found out were happening. And we really had the knowledge and the power to do something that we can, provide back. Intel is very, big on giving back to the community. And this was one of the times we wanted to step up and, align with our values of Intel. We decided we're going to use the intelligent vision technology. So Vision Edge technologies have helped in empowering organizations to adapt solutions that help manage spaces better. For example, we have these solutions even though they're called retail solutions, they can easily be adapted to other organizations as well, because the goal of these solutions are to reduce public health risks and keep people safe, and that was our only goal. But here we're talking about retail use cases, so we're going to focus on that. I'd like to mention our customer that we've been working on to deploy these solutions. Claro 360 has been, using Intel Xeon scalable processors to rapidly deploy intelligent vision technologies. So I'll be talking about the Claro 360 platform that I will showcase later in one of the slides. Claro 360 has positioned its platform uniquely to serve this particular marketplace with smart video analytics solutions, and they have been using legacy video surveillance. Intel also offers video analytics solutions. The suite of projects that we have released on Edge Software Hub is called Retail Pandemic Reference Implementations. It consists of 4 different use cases, but it all falls under one umbrella called social distancing. Social distancing, right? And it's based on interdistribution of OpenVINO toolkit. I know Prem covered a lot on OpenVINO toolkit. It's open source, and when we decided to do this project, it did not make any other sense than to release it open source, because you wanted it to reach as many people as possible. We wanted to have IoT vendors and end customers take it easily and be able to integrate it with their solutions, basically, and easily use it as as easy as possible. So I'll just cover one of the points. OpenVINO allows developers, to optimize, tune, and run comprehensive AI inference using model optimizers, runtime, and development tools. With this technology, Claro was able to rapidly deploy the video analytics solutions that we had under the Retail Pandemic Reference Implementation Suite on our Intel Xeon scalable processors, right? To help other retail partners in South America to create safer spaces with intelligent vision AI technology. So this is the suite that I was talking about. And if you look closely, it would be in Spanish because, they operate in South America, but I'm going to give an explanation of what this actually means. So Ecosystem 360 is actually from Claro 360. It's a suite or it's a platform that they have. It's a broad, scalable digital ecosystem offering multiple services dedicated to resource optimization. And, they help in managing companies, organizations, government activities, etc. Right? So it actually began in Mexico and assisted in rapid response turnaround during the very tough times during the pandemic, right? And they provided the intelligent vision technology for all the local retailers who were in desperate need of reopening. It also quickly expanded to Peru, Colombia, and to the rest of Latin America. Is projected to expand to these countries and these areas by end of 2021. Ecosystem 360, it can be easily leveraged to deploy visual analytics use cases that will help all businesses improve retail strategies. So it's an amazing suite and platform. We're going to talk about the vision technology-based use cases that I mentioned, the 4 use cases that we have, that we have released on Edge Software Hub. I will talk about what these use cases are, what they do, what OpenVINO models they use. But Prem will essentially be showcasing the demo for all these things in detail. He will show you, what commands to run, how to download them, how to use them, all of that. But we wanted to touch base on where it started, what is the business use case, how we are able to interface with the real world with these technologies, right? We always have tons of amazing technologies, but in dire need of using them, we need to put that out there in the world, right? And they have to use it for all, for making everyone's lives better. So we also wanted to focus on that part, even though this is a very technical discussion, we wanted to include and embed this in the webinar. So we'll talk about the video analytics solutions a little bit here. We have social distancing enforcement. This promotes being socially distanced between each other in public places. We have capacity limit enforcement, which is actually, having a store be at capacity. I'm sure this would have been been there in Indonesia as well, but they were asked, we were asked to actually maintain only a certain number of capacity at retail stores. Let's say they should only open at 25% or 50% capacity. So if 200 capacity is allowed on a regular day at a retail store, we're only allowed to have about 50 people or 100 people. So that was another use case. One of them was one-way aisles. In US, most of the stores actually have this already, but it is not actually mandated. In stores between each of the aisles, you'll have a direction. You can only go in one direction, and people will not be coming in the opposite direction. This became a real, requirement when we were in the pandemic, because this was easily helping in avoiding contact with other people. Line monitoring, as I mentioned, there was capacity limit enforcement. So when the stores were at capacity, people were not left inside the store. So they had to form a line outside. But when they were not following social distancing outside, that was being a problem again. It was also, spreading infection. So that was not essential. Okay, so we'll talk about the social distancing enforcement, because this will be the larger suite that covers all the other use cases. It identifies most of the aspects of the other use cases as well. So what is social distancing enforcement, right? So we wanted to build a solution that identifies shoppers and measures the distance between each shopper. So the definition is very clear. So what we wanted to do in the solution is identify the people within a specific area, and a red bounding box appears when, and a visual alert is triggered if the distance between them is less than a specified amount. But what actually happens in the solution, right? A trained neural network detects the people in a frame of interest. So we have two models operating for each use case. One is the person detection model, and the other is a person re-identification model. Person detection model, as the name suggests, is it actually identifies humans with some aspects as opposed to other objects, right? So once it has detected a human, what the person re-identification model does is it extracts the features from the detected people. So it has to match and make sure that it's detecting the same person to measure the distance between one person and another person. So the application also, as I mentioned, it calculates the distance between each person based on the location, size, and different perspectives, right? So finally, as I mentioned, a red bounding box appears when people are closer together and they're not maintaining predetermined social distance. So those are the step-by-step, instructions, or the step-by-step processes that happen when this application is running. The next one here we have video analytics solution, line monitoring. So what we're doing in line monitoring is basically monitoring the people who are also standing outside the stores, making sure that they are 6 feet apart. As you can see, a green bounding box appears between two lines when people are standing between that, but otherwise it will show a red bounding box. Here again, we have a deep neural network model detecting the people in the frame of interest. It can also be multiple camera detection or single camera. The application counts the number of people that are located on top of a configured line. And then the total number of people waiting in line is also shown on the screen. So as you can see here, it also says, people waiting in line can also be forecasted line size based on the time of the day. So the total number of people waiting on the line will actually help in forecasting the line size for the future as well. Next one is one-way aisle. This application basically helps in identifying the direction in which the shopper goes. You're able to ingest a video from either a file or a live video, but you're able to process it frame by frame. Use the DNN model as usual, and it uses extracting features to identify detected individuals, just like how we discussed before, person detection model and a person re-identification model, and identifies when a person is going in the opposite direction. Store management, or basically having a dashboard, for the administrator of the store, let's say, will help in identifying these people who are not maintaining social distance to keep up with the protocol, right? And finally, we have the fourth one, which is capacity limit enforcement. The intelligent application allows store management to count the people. So on the top left of the image right here, you see there is a people count and the capacity limit. So the capacity limit of the store is 200, but the people count is only at 121. Sorry about the color, you're not able to see that properly, but the people count is actually 121. So it's well within the capacity and people are still free to go inside and out. But what happens is, the people, based on the direction that they are going, it's identified whether a person is entering or exiting a store. They are able to cross a virtual line, and that's how it's determined whether a person is going inside or outside based on the camera position. The application also counts the unique shoppers based on the person re-identification algorithm that I mentioned earlier, and this is how it's able to calculate the store capacity, the total number of people who are inside the store. So that brings me to my next point, which is the performance of our Intel Xeon processors. The reason I wanted to end with this is because Clara 360 actually deployed our solution in Intel Xeon 2nd generation processor. We wanted to talk about the 3rd generation processor, give a little bit of the features and the advantages that this has over the 2nd generation, and how much the performance actually increases over the new generation, right? So what are the enhanced edge capabilities that this scalable processor, this generation scalable processor offers, right? So it's edge inference, with artificial intelligence, built-in AI, and enhanced performance. Flexibility, scalability, and enhanced manageability is increased, and also security is enhanced with data and hardware encryption. So I'm going to talk more about this in the next slide. But as you can see, the 3rd generation Xeon is delivering incredible new levels of performance based on how, based on the data that we're going to see here. So in edge inference, up to 28 cores in IoT SKUs, and it also has 1.46 average performance gain over the last generation. I actually have a screenshot that I wanted to show you from from a solution that was running in the 2nd generation as opposed to the 3rd generation processor. Right. So as Prem already mentioned, it also has DL boost for built-in AI acceleration, and 1.56x improvement in AI inference for image classification over the generations, right? For flexibility, there is Intel Speed Select technology, resource directory technology, and virtualization technology. For security, it has software guard extensions and total memory encryption. So these are all the capabilities that has enabled all the vision solutions to improve performance, and scalability is going to be extremely efficient in this case. And the final thing that I wanted to show you is actually between the 2nd generation scalable processors and the 3rd generation Xeon scalable processors. You can see that it has 1.42x speed. You can see by the images per second that's being monitored. There's 40% increase in images per second, and that's a huge amount when we are working with vision solutions, because as you might have all experienced in the past, it has been one of the biggest issues when it comes to scalability. When we want to run vision solutions, we want really efficient, and fast hardware devices as well. So this is going to hugely impact the deployment of the customers. So what's happening is Clara 360 is deploying the service in the edge in retail shopping centers to deliver this processing power on site and to reduce the network latency as well. So this is where I want to end, talking about how it can be improved. But I'm very excited that Prem is going to showcase a demo of, the social distancing use case, and he'll also, so how we have been able to release this is as an umbrella suite. I explained this before, but you can also run line monitoring, one-way aisle, and capacity limit solutions by themselves, as opposed to running them all together. So I'm sure Prem's going to talk about this, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us at the end of the session. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sindhu.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, as we have seen, Intel Software Hub, one of the use case which Sindhu has explained, the social distancing for retail setting, and you can see my full screen now.
Okay, we now we can see our slide.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, hi all. I mean, if you would like to want to get logged into your software hub, you can type intel.com/software hub. You would be able to see the page and able to experience the reference implementation, which I'm going to demonstrate shortly. So I will be giving a little bit of architecture overview, how we have implemented the social distancing detection for retail settings, which includes the social distancing calculations, as well as the one-way monitor and line monitoring and capacity monitoring as well. So yeah, with that, the first more from a high level perspective, we have supported the multi-channel, which means that either you can have a multiple USB camera feeds or RTSP streams from your network or IP cameras, which could be streamed to this application. And so the application is built, the core part is built using OpenVINO. And so OpenVINO, as I mentioned, has a lot of deep learning models as well. So we have used one of the person detection model called person detection 0013 model. And so we detect the people in the frame, and then based on the relative distance between the neighboring people, we based on the Euclidean distance algorithm, we calculate the social distancing violation. And similarly, we would calculate the line monitoring, one-way monitoring, and capacity limit as per some of the coordinates and other things we have to more from a calibration standpoint. We do that and calculate. And so once we do that from the core application, and each of the data of violations and the status of the line monitoring and one-way monitoring and other things, this entire information will be stored in InfluxDB, the database which you use. And then the same data can be, as per your requirements, you would be able to see the various stats. Either it is in a particular channel where exactly this camera is deployed, or you want to see all the camera feeds, and you'd be able to see the statistics, how the people movement and the social distancing violations, on across the 4 use cases you will be able to identify. And you have an option to see live feed and see the live inference data, how the people are moving and how the violations and the people count and information also can be seen in the current implementation. And you have a provision to run the same application on CPU, GPU, and on the VPU. We have currently not supported FPGA and other hardware accelerations yet. As and when it is available, we could do that. And so yeah, that is what the current status. And we'll go a little bit deep into this application. As I mentioned, currently the current demo use like 5 feed camera feeds. As we are loading through local video, we could do even with RTSP streamer as well. And the model we are using here is the person detection retail 0013. It's a person detection model. And I think many of you have not able to see my previous slide. This is an OpenVINO toolkit. You all can see my browser now? Sandra?
Yes, we can
Okay.
see your browser.
Okay, yeah. So this is the OpenWinner Toolkit website, and I think last time I've explained the install guide and the documentation for each of them, how to do and everything. And as you see here, whenever you install OpenWinner, you could see the OpenWinner is available in your your workstation, and you can see all the deployment tools, which is primarily the inference engine where I'm using these APIs. And of course, a lot of Intel models are available, which would be very, very handy for your application development. And we have optimized a lot of BERT models, especially for natural language processing. And we have a face detections, with a quite different of frameworks, either it be TensorFlow, PyTorch, and depends on the compute and the camera angle and other scenarios. We have developed quite a bit of face detection and recognition models as well, and yeah, human pose and image detection. So here we are using the person detection detail 0013 as one of the model for this one, for this current application. Okay, similarly you can use and we do have a couple of applications which is if you wanted to be try out how these things work. So there is a demos where you have a lot of applications like showcasing couple of models, the DL models for human pose. It will use a couple of human pose, and there are models like object detections and the security barrier, which would use the vehicle detection and the number plate detections and various things. And smart classroom use the person detections and re-identification models. So each of them some extent can demonstrate, and this would be a good starting point if you're trying to write a sample using OpenWindow. So yeah, this is what I kind of explained last time, which you missed. And yeah, coming to yeah, the current RI, as I mentioned, we will in each of the frame we will detect the people, and we apply the Euclidean distance algorithm on the neighboring people and check if they're less than 6 feet, and then we will call as a social distancing violation. And of course, we can do in the similar fashion for capacitor limit line monitoring and one-way monitoring, as Sindhu explained. And all the information will be saved in InfluxDB, and how you want to. Grafana is very flexible, and how you want to visualize, you can customize, and accordingly you can pull up your dashboards. So we have defaultly given some sort of the dashboards, which we will demonstrate shortly. And yeah, this is one of the important thing I would like to highlight in OpenWindow. We call it as a DL streamer. This is not just, even though in our workload typically the inference is the biggest and DL model takes a lot of the compute, typically 60 to 70 or up to 80%, depends on the model. And but end-to-end pipeline is very, very important. So optimizing it, the reason being that as you go for higher resolution cameras like 4K and other resolution, each of the frame, the decoding also takes a considerable amount of time. So we should be able to use the hardware acceleration here, and some of the post processing like downscaling and calculating the region of interest, and even the color conversions and all of them can be done in the hardware. So that gives the best end-to-end performance. So we always recommend to use a DL streamer. And so here, when you have a RTSP stream coming in H.264 or H.265, these are all the GStreamer elements which we are using, the plugins, and the URI source bin will capture the the video, and the decode bin will decode using FFmpeg plugins. And so you have a decoded frame, and according to the model, what you have here, person detection retail, we would downscale. First we will convert to BGR format, as that is the required format for doing the inference, and then we will downscale according to the model resolution, and we will calculate the region of interest, and we do the person detection. So this is where we will get a metadata, that how many people have been detected. And if you want to classify any other further, whether is a person is like a gender, male, female, or any other particular attributes you want to do it, you can use a GVA classify, and all the metadata would be converted to JSON metadata by using GVA meta convert. And of course here you have a GVA Python is another GStreamer plugin you have. And if you want to do post processing, like here in our case, we are doing once we have a social distancing data, we want to calculate based on the number of people and the social distancing violation, we can calculate the line monitoring and capacity monitoring and one-way monitoring. So all that post processing, we can use the GVA Python module to do that information and then convert the metadata, and then we can use the another the element called as a GVA meta publish, which would save locally to your file, or can be published to cloud as well. If you prefer AWS or other things, you can even do that. For simplification, we have used a MQTT, but if it is a large scale production system, you can use Kafka, and typically we enter this pipeline with fake sync. So and since now we have already saved our data and we already published, so this is one of the best way to get the full performance, not just using the open window models, but using the entire pipeline for a better performance, so that you can get a higher number of FPS. So this is what we have adapted in this reference implementation. Okay, and so whenever, as you have seen, there are many reference applications available on Edge Software Hub, and typically those are all a culmination of Intel components and as well as some of the open source component. And for this application, which we have developed, we have used OpenVINO, the model, and the inference engine API, and the DL streamer, and OpenCV we primarily used, for the some of the post processing and the display, and some of the other machine learning algorithms to do some of the calculation and the camera calibrations and other things. And we have used InfluxDB as database, and the other one is the Grafana, which we have used. And of course, for some of the post processing, we are using NumPy and SciPy and PSUtils. So these are the, and most of the packages and the third party packages, whenever we use, we try to use with the permissible license, which is typically LGPL or Apache or MIT license, so that will not have any licensing issues. And as I mentioned, you can use as many as camera feeds, but typically when we have tested up to 16 on certain devices, and even it can go practically on a Xeon scalable processor up to 20-25, depends on how much of FPS you need. If you need a lesser FPS like 5 FPS, it can even go up to 40 cameras, and if you need a 15 FPS, then it can do only probably 10 to 12 cameras. And yeah, this is the Edge gateway device, and yeah, we save entire information on InfluxDB, and through HTTP we display all the dashboards and even the inference output through browser. Yeah, this is the overall the BOM list which we have used in this reference implementation. Yeah, this is the data flow, how we have actually implemented the application. So this is primarily has 3 Docker containers. We have used OpenVINO Docker container, and which is based on the Ubuntu as a base image, and we also have a Grafana and InfluxDB. These are all very popular and available on Docker Hub, and which we have just pulled and we kind of using in this RI. The first thing is anytime whenever you get a camera thing, of course a lot of these things are kind of very simple when you use DL streamer, because the DL streamer will take care of a lot of plumbing work for you. So typically you would need initialization of IEA plugin and initializing the InfluxDB, Grafana, and all the services. And then you have the model, which is an OpenVINO model. It cannot, it need to be in a certain format to recognize the OpenVINO runtime. It's called as an intermediate representation format, so that need to be loaded, and the respective plugin need to be invoked. So you need to mention whether you're trying to run on a CPU or integrated GPU or a MoviDS VPU. So you need to mention that, so that a respective plugin will be invoked, and then your typically the main loop will start, and you would be capturing the frames. And and run the inference, and this is where the entire DL streamer pipeline will be invoked, and you would be doing the decode, downscaling, color conversion, and detecting the persons, and getting the metadata and calculating yeah, get the bounding boxes. And then once we have this information, this is where we calculate the social distancing violations, and as well as how the people movement and the capacity and all other the information what we need, and we save this information in FlexDB and Grafana. So this is in a nutshell. Of course, you once you download from ESH, you have a full source code, and you would be able to customize and run, and there are various other custom options available. I will show during the demo session. Yeah, this is how when we run like with a 5-channel, you would be able to see the people count. And yeah, sometimes depends, some of the videos are very close and some of them very far away, so you need to do that calibration to get a right amount of accuracy. And then even detecting lines and other things also kind of a challenge in certain cases, and so we need to do a bit of the calibration on that front. So yeah, this is how your typical output, and we kind of show that how is the APS on that particular hardware when we are running an Atom or Core i5 or i7 to Xeon platform. So currently in the current demo, we are using 5 channels running on a Core platform. Okay, and this is the demo. So the first thing is, as you all hopefully are logged in, or you have to create an account, and then only you will be able to download. So so probably you could follow me. So first you log into Edge Software Hub, and then you need to click the social distancing RI. Okay, so here I am searching, and I got a social distancing RI, and when I double click, since since I have downloaded already, it doesn't ask me license. But whenever you first time trying to download, you need to accept the license, and then you click for that particular platform, and it will also generate a product key, and then there is a link to getting started guide which you need to follow, so that, that there is a step-by-step instructions, and you save uh, the actual package to your workstation. And this is the getting started guide document. This is a step-by-step which you can directly copy paste and and follow the steps. So here I have download the package, so just I'm doing unzip, and you have there is a Edge Software Hub CLI, which is a command line interface for easy management of the application what you are installing on your Edge device. So you need to do the change mode for that binary so that you would be able to execute, and then we give Edge Software install. So what it does is there is a configuration file. You need to provide your product key here. Typically you would get it here, and if this page gets expired, you typically even get an email. So from that you can capture. And yeah, what I was mentioning is whenever you install, all the components are mentioned in this Edge Software configuration.xml will be pulled. And so here we have a Docker Compose, and the retail settings RI. So the first we have pulled our ESB common components, and then we are pulling the Docker Community Edition CE, and then we download Docker Compose, and then followed by the social distancing for retail setting RI. So typically this takes some time to download. It depends on your network speed, and in probably in the next few months we are also supporting the microservice services. So we will directly put all the Docker images in the container registry so that you can pull. So you don't need to build dynamically these images as well. So so right now we are installing the 3 modules: Docker Compose and Docker CE and social distancing RI. So typically it takes a couple of minutes. It depends on your network speed and your workstation compute power. And as you see, You have an offline document also available at this path. You can follow that, or there is a web documentation, and you see that there is a all the components have successfully being installed. So with that, we would move on to the next part of the demo. So since we have downloaded the RI, now how we can run this RI. RI stand for reference implementation, also called as a reference application. So I'm just going to the respective directory here, in this case, retail settings. So basically here, what we are doing is we have already downloaded the package. So which we are doing just a Docker compose build so that we can build. So yeah, if you already built, there will be a cache, and so we can reuse the existing images. But first time, then it will pull all the images, and typically take some time to build that. Yeah, this one of the thing what we could do is we could save this time once we have a ready-made Docker images, either hosted on Docker Hub or our own container registry, which we are working on, so that the whole deployment becomes faster and we can run, and we export the IP, and we just do Docker compose up so that all the Docker images will be spinned off and the containers will be up. The containers are up, and if you want to see all the containers list and the health of it, and then you could also see the logs of the Docker containers which you have installed, just to get a confirmation that all are functioning and the pipeline is started. So here, this is the actual pipeline where typically this is a pipeline where typically, as I mentioned, through DL streamer, the file source location here, I'm giving the video.mp4, and I'm doing the code bin and video convert to from YUV to BGRA format, and do the video scale and according to the resolution, which is 640 by 320, and to BGR format. And then we do GBA detect. This is where actual the person detection retail model being used and the inference is happening. And this is the model which we are using, and the target device is a CPU, and we are using the tracking to track the people and count the number of people to avoid the repeat count. And we are getting the metadata through GBA watermark, and then we are ending the pipeline. And since we are running the 5 channels, so as you can see, there is a 1 more, and 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, 5 more. So for each of the channel, it will create pipelines like that. And then comes to how we can visualize that this particular application is working. So we can visualize the data on the Grafana to see the dashboard. So typically the local host 3000 is the port. So if you are able to log into the particular node and want to see, you can see typically we have provided admin as the login and password. You be able, and we have automated these the Grafana login, and so we have created a ready-made channels which you can directly click and observe how each channel information channel, I mean here each camera, you can also observe how is the social distancing violations and other metrics. Or if you're particularly interested in one particular channel, or if you're wanted to consolidate to see all the other channels as well, you would be able to see, with the current implementation what we have provided. So this is the guide which you can do it, and of course there are many other customization possible and which you can do by customizing the Grafana interface. And of course you can also see the live output of our camera feeds. So just type localhost 5000 and get all stream, so you would be able to see each of the channel the output in real time. Okay, this is how you get it. And yeah, just interest of time, you all can see my screen, right? The video.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Yeah, this is a demo, and of course there are a lot of other customizations possible, and for each of the channel also, because there would be some channel which you're putting at the entrance and at the cash counter or at a particular line monitoring, and you can give a different feeds and you can select the analytics as well, related to that particular camera or channel. You can do that, and you can get the dashboards, and of course you can push this data to the cloud through AWS GreenGross or Azure IoT Hub. And then you would be able to do further processing, and the post processing can be done, and according to the the customer preferences, you will be able to develop much further fine-grained the dashboards. So that's how the consolidation dashboard would look for each of the channel. And the next step is that how do we, what kind of customizations possible, for this implementation. Hey, I want to change my own model, and then okay, here you see that this is the camera_config.json file. This is the configuration and main file where you have all this information as a variables which you can customize as per your needs. So analytics is whether you want to run on that particular camera, the social distancing, line monitoring, one-way monitoring, or capacity limit. You would be able to just change the parameter. And the next one is the device, whether you want to run that particular camera frame on a particular device like CPU, GPU, you would be able to do that. When you have in each of the devices a heterogeneous device, right? Sometimes it will have a CPU, may have an integrated GPU. Typically most of the core platforms has an integrated GPU, and then you can have a additional accelerator card as well, like a ZPU or a VPU, Mobilius VPU card. So you would be able to offload social distancing to CPU, and line monitoring to integrated GPU, and one-way monitoring to our Mobilius VPU. So and then you can do the load balancing, and of course there is a more intelligent way of doing it as well, using hetero and multi commands as well, which you can leverage that. And yeah, there are other of course you can change input your own videos and input your own the model. If you don't like the accuracy of the current model which you have provided the person detection, and you have trained with your own data set, you can bring that. And if you wanted to get a better performance, right now we are using a P16 model, and if you have something very optimized for Int8, even that model you can bring in and run, so that the performance will be better. And as I mentioned, in each video is different, and the camera angle is different, and the field of view is different. So you would need to tweak certain parameters like one-way coordinates and one-way direction coordinates and line monitoring coordinates. So this one we have the fine-tuned for certain videos, the demo videos, but you might need to do for the videos which you bring in. So yeah, these are the parameters which you can do it. And so that within a day or two, this RI you can demonstrate to your customer with your customer provided or your own videos and algorithms what you have developed already. Okay, yeah, that is a quick thing. So here we are going to do just simply change one of the parameter in the camera.config JSON. We will just change from CPU to GPU, and we will run how the performance will change, because every CPU has integrated GPU, and CPUs are typically does a lot of things like OS and other applications. So an integrated GPU is typically meant for media and couple of other things. So we can fully leverage the GPU to do the inference, and the CPU is completely free. So what we do is the first step is to down, because the instance is already running. So we use the docker compose down command to down that particular RI, so that all the containers are stopped. And then we will change the code in the camera underscore config.json file. We will change from CPU to, yeah, this is the camera. So you can change the analytics for each of the camera here. Okay, so you can add many, you can just copy paste this one and for increase up to 20 channels or 15 channels or as per your wish. And yeah, this is a one-way monitor, and this is a CPU it is running on, and this is a video which I have, and these are the coordinates which we used, for that particular video. And so we changed from CPU to GPU, and now we are rerunning that application. So we will just follow the same commands. So we export the host IP, and then since we have done the Docker compose down, now with the new code change, we'll do the Docker compose up, so that will be up. And you see all the containers health. And then if you want to see the logs also, just to see that everything is working fine, you can do that with from CPU to GPU change. As you see here, I think earlier this device was CPU and now it is GPU. So this is a change which we made in the recent thing. And then now let's see the output from the Grafana and in the browser, the real-time inference output, to see that is there any difference in the performance when we change from CPU to GPU running the same RI. So we are logging again. Yeah, this is the old screen. So we are refreshing, and okay, and yeah, we can see the new data coming up, and we can see that as you see 3.3, earlier it was like 1.8, 1.9 FPS. Now it is almost 3 in a couple of channels case. So definitely with the GPU, the performance is improved, and similarly you can explore and tweak. It's all depends on how is your video frame and how many objects are there, how many people are there. The density depends on that. The performance vary from channel to channel. And of course, there are many other options which are available for you to check and customize this application. Okay, and yeah, this is what we want to demonstrate. And of course, this is just for social distancing, and any of the in the current scenario that whether you're an airport or retail store or a city or your own enterprise, I think social distancing and face mask are very common, and which we see the demand from any customer, and being in the mandated features. Definitely I think this would give you some amount of guidance how you can develop using the RI which we have provided through Edge Software Hub. So so just want to conclude my session with a summary. So please get started with Intel Edge Software Hub. I have provided you link in the chat window, and otherwise you just go to intel.com/Edge Software Hub. You can Google and you find all the relevant the software packages and the use cases and the reference implementations, and which you can log in, create your own login account, and then log in, and you would be able to download. And so Of course, there are a lot of content and training videos, and there is a Coursera video, course which you can do it, and there is an open winner channel, and we have created a lot of videos even for the RIs on YouTube, which you can see it and follow quickly. And if you have any questions, you have a community support as well, so we will kind of help you on if you face any issues on a particular hardware or a particular scenario. And so if you're decided that this is a perfect RI for you to take forward, hey, I just want a line monitoring, or I just want this one, so let's go ahead and select and accept license and download, and you can purchase, or if you have your own hardware, if it can meet the requirement, you can directly use it. And once you develop and customize it and you are satisfied with your result, then you can bring back again your solution to Intel, saying that I built a commercial production ready solution. We can take forward for RFP ready kit or a market ready solution, so we can help to scale the solution to reach out to multiple. And there are many benefits which Intel provide jointly with our partners like Synnex and other members to help you to scale your solution. Okay, yeah, any questions? You have email ID here, and any feedback or anything, yeah, please feel free to share. And now with that, we will open up for Q&A.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Prem, for your presentation, and also Miss Sindu, thank you so much for your presentation. Dan kepada Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini, kita akan masuk ke sesi panel discussion, dan saya ingatkan jika masih ada pertanyaan, ada hal-hal yang ingin ditanyakan, silakan untuk mendropnya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan, karena tentunya tadi kita sudah melihat sendiri ya bagaimana presentasinya terkait dengan tema kita pada hari ini, Intel Edge AI for Vision Retail, di mana tadi dibuka oleh Mr. Prem terkait dengan AI, di sini merubah industri, dan kita tahu di saat-saat seperti ini teknologi jadi kunci, dan di sini Intel tentunya sekali lagi hadir untuk membantu Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman membangun teknologi yang bisa menjawab tantangan-tantangan dengan tools dari Intel, hardware maupun software-nya. Tadi kita sudah bahas terkait dengan Intel OpenVINO Toolkits, kemudian juga Intel Software Hub seperti itu, kemudian juga tadi sudah dipaparkan oleh Miss Sindu ya terkait dengan bagaimana nih bisnis case-nya yang sudah diimplementasi seperti itu terkait dengan intelligent vision teknologi, bagaimana video analitik di sini di saat pandemi membantu ya dalam hal memantau social distancing, line monitoring, kemudian juga sampai dengan capacity limit enforcement. Tadi sudah dilihat sendiri ya bagaimana itu diimplementasikan di negara lain, dan tentunya tadi kita juga sudah bahas terkait dengan performance-nya. Tentunya untuk membangun ini harus fleksibel. Tentu dibutuhkan prosesor yang tepat, fleksibel, scalable, dan di sini Intel hadir ya tentunya dengan Intel Xeon-nya. Tadi kita juga sudah dengarkan, sudah melihat bagaimana demonya, sehingga Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman jangan lupa tadi sudah belajar, sudah melihat, jadi langsung diimplementasikan. Tadi juga sudah ada link-linknya, mungkin bisa di-capture ya, bagaimana kita belajar, mendevelop sampai dengan mendeploy-nya, yang tadi sudah dipaparkan oleh Mr. Prem. And now, we would like to answer the question for you guys. Okay, the first questions is from Mr. Brian. Okay, so you can ask Miss Prem or Miss Sindu. The question is there any original device and equipment manufacturers are recommended hardware program through the Intel Edge software device qualification process? So maybe Mr. Prem or Miss Sindu, you can answer these questions.
Yeah, Sandra, I can answer this.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do have on Edge Software Hub, there is a Edge software device qualification process we have. And so right now we have partnered with a couple of ODMs, and we could run our Edge Insight for Vision package and see how most of the modules are working fine, and if it can have a pass rate of more than 95-96%, that would be qualified, and we have a complete the process for that. So definitely yeah, we have already this is in place, and which you can just search with the Intel Edge software device qualification tool. And I'm not sure whether the name is still same, but yeah, we have this already and it's live, and which can be used. Brian, and any feedback or any recommendation, we'd be happy to take that.
Okay, and also Miss Indu, do you want to add something about these questions?
No, I think
Okay. Oke, baik, dan tentunya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini, jika ada pertanyaan ingin bahasa, that's okay, karena tentunya di sini kita juga akan bantu ya untuk translate. Sudah ada bersama juga dengan dari pihak Synnex Metrodata Indonesia, yaitu Pak Herianto. Jadi silahkan sekali lagi jika ada pertanyaan in English, in Indonesia, silahkan langsung mendropnya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan. And now we would like to move to the another questions. Question from Mr. Wahyu Wijaya. The question is, how does the people work in the port terminal use OpenVINO? Okay, maybe Mr. Prem. Hello.
Sorry, Sandra, can you please repeat the question?
Okay, the question is, how does the people work in the port terminal use OpenVINO?
Okay, how does the people work in port terminal use OpenVINO? Of course, definitely, I believe it is the port, the terminal, either an airport or actual your, port. There are many things which is a specific use cases which are very, very important to, track the people is the first thing, and track the objects and the important high value assets which are very, very important. And if there are certain other scenarios which are important more in a left or unattended or abandoned package, which is not being picked up. So these are all the couple of use cases which we see. And these are all the basic algorithms are same. So which are the models like object detections or the person detection algorithms which we have in OpenVINO help you to realize that. And anything you want to add, any more filter or specific customization, which you can always do through post processing on top of the results which the deep learning algorithm which provides to you.
Okay. Semoga menjawab Pak Wahyu untuk pertanyaannya. And still from Mr. Wahyu, Mr. Prem, the question is how to connect edge device to Azure IoT Intel.
Yeah, so we have already, if you have seen our Edge Software Hub, we do have the Edge IoT Central. I think it's IoT Hub also, Azure IoT Hub also we have integrated. So you can download that and experience it. So it is available as part of our Edge Insight Vision package, and as well as in use cases, you would be able to find Azure IoT, which we have. I will share the link. So I have a couple of my other members as well on the panel. So yeah, team, we can provide the links, for them. Yeah.
Oke, thank you so much Mr. Prem for your answer, dan terima kasih juga tentunya kepada Pak Wahyu atas pertanyaannya. Jika masih ada hal yang kurang jelas, silakan untuk mendropnya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan ya. And we move to another questions from Kilia. The question is, so inside the software hub, there's a lot of basic algorithms and we can modify them, right? Is it possible? And we can also use cloud hardware based to run test the algorithm. Please advise Mr. Prem.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks, Sandra, and thanks, Gillian, for the question. So yeah, definitely the software hub is a gateway as a marketplace, for the developers. And of course, we are giving some of the SDKs and the reference applications and the use cases, and it's bound to go and offer more and more algorithms and the deep learning models. And those are all we are giving as a software hub license, which is the perpetual license one time. You can accept that, and you can, without any royalty, you would be able to use it. So you can always customize it, and either you want to run on on-premise edge hardware, you would be able to run, or if you want to run it on a cloud, Azure, AWS Azure, and with the Intel x86 instance, you would be able to run. Of course, when you use Intel hardware, x86 hardware, definitely you would be able to use some of the Intel optimized software toolkits like OpenVINO that would help to run best and to get the maximum performance out of it. So yeah, absolutely it's possible.
Oke, semoga menjawab untuk pertanyaannya dari Pak Kilian ya, ini ya Bapak ya. Baik, semoga menjawab, dan tadi juga dari Pak Wahyu sudah di-share linknya, silahkan untuk dicoba, di-klik linknya Pak, di-explore lebih dalam. And we move to another questions. Okay. Okay, there is okay, it is asking, yeah, Mr. Dwi Prasetya Baskoro, could we get a copy of this slide? Is it okay, Mr. Pram and Miss Indu?
Yeah, we can share. Like these are all
Okay.
public.
Oke, nanti setelah ini tim Synnex Metrodata Indonesia akan share ya untuk linknya. Jadi untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang ingin tahu, ingin mendapatkan link presentasi pada webinar kita pada hari ini, tentunya bisa menghubungi teman-teman dari Synnex Metrodata Indonesia. And kita masih membuka ya Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman pertanyaan sesi tanya jawab. Jadi silahkan tentunya jika ada pertanyaan, ada hal-hal yang ingin ditanyakan, silahkan untuk mendropnya di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan baik menggunakan bahasa Inggris ataupun menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. And we move to another questions. That is from Brian, yeah, Mr. Brian. How do you find in the best practice which framework do work more pretty? TensorFlow, MXNet, Kaldi, or ONNX? Maybe Mr. Prem or Miss Sindhu?
Yeah, so Sindhu, you would like to go, or maybe I can go and Sindhu can add more. And so the best one thing is when you use an Intel on hardware, I think of course you find a lot of legacy hardware, and of course on the CPU and many other things which are based on x86. And if you want to get a better performance, of course you have to use OpenVINO. And when you use OpenVINO, and OpenVINO defaultly support TensorFlow and MXNet, and of course the CallD is the audio framework which we support to extend the non-vision use cases, and ONNX also being supported if you have a PyTorch or other framework model which can be converted. So yeah, of course, what we have is a standalone, the lot of Cafe and TensorFlow models standalone, which can directly work, and with a we can provide there are certain tools which can automatically convert your models and can work straightforward. Yeah, and whereas ONNX goes through a little bit of first converting to TensorFlow, and then from there converting to OpenVINO, would be a two-stage process. And so definitely TensorFlow and MXNet are the first citizens, and CallD as well. The ONNX also can be used for PyTorch models. So it is absolutely really depends on as a developer need. There is no restriction, and all of them are really well supported on Intel OpenVINO. Just ensure that your model is compatible with OpenVINO.
Oke, semoga menjawab untuk Pak Brian atas pertanyaannya. And Miss Indu, do you want to add something for these questions?
No, I think.
Oke, thank you so much. Thank you sekali lagi juga untuk Pak Brian atas pertanyaannya. Dan untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, sekali lagi jika masih ada pertanyaan, silahkan untuk mendrop pertanyaan di kolom Q&A yang telah disediakan. Nah, ini ada pertanyaan selanjutnya dari Kilian. Mungkin Pak Herianto, halo Pak.
Iya, halo.
Oke Pak, kita mencoba menjawab pertanyaan dari Pak Kilian nih Pak. Teknologi menggunakan beacon Bluetooth ataupun koneksi lainnya untuk show promo yang sedang berlangsung di gerai, apakah di luar negeri yang menggunakan Intel teknologi ada referensinya?
Yeah. Hi. I will try to translate this question from Kilian.
Yep.
Yeah, you mentioned about the beacon technology using the Bluetooth in your presentation. Right? Any Intel reference for this kind of usage? Maybe already been in the case that already been implemented somewhere in the world.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, thanks, sir, and you for translating this. Definitely, we do have, as I mentioned, a lot of things are focused on the computer vision and with the cameras, and but definitely there are sensors, and in the retail environment, Bluetooth-based beacons also kind of play an important role, and the location-based services are very, very important. And one of the reference implementation what we have is a RTSP, which is a real-time sensor fusion, where we have used a couple of sensor in the retail environment, and these would be some of the RFP readers, RFID cards, and the beacons, and how we take the data and ingest into the framework something like a Ajax, which is a very popular framework, and we have built an application called real-time sensor fusion. That will be a very good reference to how we can capture the sensor data and process and show along with the computer vision use cases, so we can the confidence level will be up, and we can develop more accurate solutions with that. So I would recommend real-time sensor fusion application, which is available on Edge Software Hub for this kind of use case to explore more.
But do you have any link or resources that you can share for the participant that they can look into?
Yeah, I can share. Yeah, there is of course this is available on the public GitHub as well. I think as we discuss, I'll put a link there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oke, baik. Semoga menjawab pertanyaan dari Pak Kilian atas pertanyaannya tadi, dan kita akan move to another question. Maybe this is last question ya, karena mengingat waktunya juga. Namun tentunya jika Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman ingin diskusi lebih lanjut dengan teman-teman dari Intel ataupun Synnex Metrodata Indonesia di luar webinar ini kita bisa arrange untuk waktunya ya. Dan Pak Herianto, mungkin ini satu pertanyaan lagi dari Pak Agus.
Yeah.
Oke, ini terkait dengan perbedaan perangkat Intel Edge dengan perangkat serupa yang lainnya. Ini apa nih? Kenapa harus Intel ya? Tadi walaupun sudah sempat diinfokan, terus juga apa hal-hal problem yang mungkin terjadi pada saat implementasi, sampai dengan manfaat dari Intel Edge yang mungkin tadi sudah dijelaskan, tapi bisa disummarize lebih detail.
Oke, ya mungkin ini saya bantu jawab aja ya langsung untuk pertanyaan dari Pak Agus. Apa perbedaan perangkat Intel Edge dengan perangkat serupa dari merek lain, ya kan? Dari sisi fungsi ya kita memang tahu banyak sekali penyedia atau vendor-vendor yang membuat gitu ya, yang memang bisa dipakai untuk inference kalau kita bicara soal AI gitu. Cuman mungkin yang perbedaannya, satu hal yang mungkin saya bisa sampaikan adalah dengan Intel kita merupakan perangkat yang sudah kita pakai sehari-hari gitu ya. Misalnya di laptop gitu ya, kita punya PC pada dasarnya sudah menggunakan Intel. Jadi saat kita mau mulai, ya kita tidak perlu beli dulu, tidak perlu nyari perangkatnya dulu. Kita bisa mulai dengan yang sudah kita miliki, ya, which is dengan Intel gitu. Kita mau pakai laptop, yang pasti minimal ya generasi ke-6. Tadi sudah disebutkan dengan Intel generasi ke-6 kita sudah bisa menggunakan teknologi yang disediakan oleh Intel gitu. Jadi lebih mudah, lebih gampang diakses. Kalau yang lain kadang kita di Indonesia mungkin beberapa perangkat belum ada, malah kita harus impor gitu kan. Sedangkan kalau Intel itu sudah ada. Nah, kendala mungkin itu yang menurut saya untuk yang pertama gitu ya. Yang kedua, kendala apa yang mungkin terjadi dalam implementasi Intel Edge? Kalau kendala, ya ini mungkin kasusnya akan berbeda-beda, tergantung di mana dan proyeknya seperti apa. Tapi karena mungkin pertanyaannya saya sedikit ganti, mengapa kita butuh Intel Edge gitu ya? Mungkin itu lebih cocok. Nah, kenapa kita butuh Edge? Itu pada dasarnya bukan berarti bahwa kalau sistem itu misalnya dengan server base, dengan cloud itu nggak bagus. Bukan, tapi kita memang ada beberapa use case itu kita punya banyak kendala. Kalau misalnya kita bicara video gitu ya, kalau semua video kita harus kirim dulu ke data center, baru diolah, berarti kita butuh bandwidth yang besar. Ya, sehingga, nah itu challenge-nya, karena bandwidth juga harus bayar kan. Kayak kita beli GSM, setiap bulan kita ada kuotanya gitu ya. Kita mau pakai 10 Mbps atau 100 Mbps, harganya beda. Nah, kalau kita cuma punya satu device nggak apa-apa, tapi kalau kita bilang di industri, di komersial, misalnya kayak CCTV, kita mungkin kalau mau deploy 20 sampai 50, kalau satu kamera kita butuh 1 Mbps, 50 kamera berarti butuh 50 Mbps. Nah, berapa harganya yang harus kita bayarkan hanya untuk itu? Nah, sehingga dengan approach-nya Edge ini, ya, di mana kita tidak perlu lagi mengirimkan raw datanya ke data center untuk diproses. tapi kita bisa prosesnya di edge, ya, di dekat sumber datanya, dekat kameranya. Nah, itu yang istilahnya ya problem yang coba di solve. Kalau tadi kan masalahnya kendalanya apa ya tadi, masalah bandwidth. Kedua ya mungkin yang menjadi kendala berikutnya adalah power. Karena kalau kita bicara di edge ya kita nyalain mesin harus ada listrik kan. Nah, kalau kita pakai mesin yang besar gitu ya, berarti butuh power yang besar, butuh listrik yang besar. Nah, tidak semua tempat atau tidak semua titik juga itu memiliki sumber power yang stabil. Mungkin untuk beberapa tempat kita harus menggunakan baterai, menggunakan solar panel. Nah, itu menjadi tantangan saat kita implementasi di edge. Nah, sehingga diperlukan alat-alat yang memang bisa mengadopsi atau bisa berjalan dengan kondisi tersebut. Gitu. Mungkin dua poin itu yang menjadi kendala, ya kan? Tapi di luar itu tentu ada beberapa ya tergantung kasusnya ya, tergantung tempatnya juga untuk dibahas. Tapi kalau nanti ini misalnya Pak Agus memang ada use case gitu ya, boleh nanti hubungi tim kita gitu ya di Metrodata, kita bisa bantu gitu ya. Kita sudah ada beberapa implementasi juga, apakah itu di dalam kota gitu ya, di luar kota ya, kita punya solusi-solusi tersebut yang kita bisa share ke Bapak.
Oke, baik. Semoga menjawab Pak Agus untuk 3 pertanyaannya ya tadi ya. Tadi sudah dijawab kendala untuk pertanyaan ketiga, Pak. Mungkin mau di-summarize lagi sedikit?
Iya, ketiga sih sebenarnya kurang lebih sama apa manfaatnya jika menggunakan inter-edge ya. Tentu tadi dari sisi kita harapkan kita tidak perlu invest terlalu besar ya untuk hardware. Kalau memang kebutuhannya tidak perlu sampai seperti itu ya, karena dengan inter-edge kan kalau ada beberapa use case misalnya kita sebenarnya cukup misalnya dengan Atom ya, Atom prosesor Intel itu sudah cukup ya kan. Tapi apakah berlaku untuk semua case? Tentu tidak gitu ya. Ada case di mana case yang lain kita butuh compute power yang lebih besar gitu. Jadi ini kita bicara case tergantung use case-nya untuk apa. Gitu. Yang pasti yang kita coba seperti tadi Sandra awal sampaikan adalah bagaimana kita bisa mengoptimalkan investment gitu ya. Terus untuk bisa tentu mendapatkan ROI ya kan, meningkatkan optimalisasi dari sisi operation gitu ya. Buat komersial bagaimana kita bisa meningkatkan revenue misalnya dari sisi impact-nya ke sana.
Oke, baik, semoga menjawab untuk pertanyaannya ya Pak Agus. 3 pertanyaan ini tentunya tadi sudah dipaparkan oleh Pak Head terkait dengan kendalanya, benefits-nya juga tentunya, dan kalau misalnya harus dibandingkan dengan yang lain, wah ini nggak usah susah-susah ya, karena semuanya kita sudah pakai produk Intel, jadi tidak usah mencari yang sulit, karena yang mudah sudah ada. Oke, semoga menjawab Pak Agus. Oke, sekali lagi thank you so much ya Pak Her ya.
Ya, sama-sama.
Oke, terima kasih Pak Her. And is there something you want to talk again, Mr. Prem or Miss Hindu? Do you want to summarize or say anything again for this panel discussion?
Yeah, just I would like to thank you, Sandra and Heriantio and all the participants today. I think this was pretty kind of useful to you and kind of give you an introductory, and of course we are going to share the file set. You can go through it and some of the links which we have shared during the presentation. So we look forward for your active participation in your GI challenge. Thanks to Synnex team and for your all cooperation. Yeah, thanks all and have a good day.
Okay, thank you so much to Mr. Prem. So hope you will stay safe and healthy. And Miss Sindu, do you want to summarize or talk something for this session panel discussion?
Yes, Sandra, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, for translating and really supporting us through this process. I'm really glad we were able to showcase our work to you guys and show you what we do. And thank you so much, Prem. I'll take this opportunity to thank thank Prem to showcase the demo of the use cases that we built. We'll send you guys the slide deck. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the organizers. We'd be happy to help.
Okay, thank you so much once again, Ms. Pindu, for your time. And I think in US, so now it's about 9 or 10 p.m., right? So once again, thank you so much for your time, yeah?
Thank you so much.
Stay healthy and stay safe, yeah?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Sandra.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
Sindhu.
much.
Thanks,
You're
Gunbun.
welcome.
Thank you all.
Oke, Bapak Ibu dan juga
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
hadir di sini. Itu dia tadi kita sudah dengarkan ya sesi presentasi dan juga panel discussion. Ini menarik-menarik tentunya ya pembahasannya, dan terima kasih juga atas pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang masuk di sini, semoga menjawab ya. Tentu sekali lagi jika ada case-case tertentu yang ingin didiskusikan lebih dalam, silahkan nanti menghubungi teman-teman dari Synnex Metrodata Indonesia ataupun juga dari Intel. Dan tadi kita sudah belajar, Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, ini jangan sampai hanya berhenti di belajar saja nih, tapi implementasinya langsung dipraktekin ya, apalagi sekali lagi ini free, jadi silahkan kapan lagi Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, semoga Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang hadir di sini ya, kita semua masyarakat Indonesia tidak hanya menjadi konsumen ya, tidak hanya menjadi customer, tapi kita juga bisa menjadi produsen ya, solusi-solusi, teknologi-teknologi tertentu, apalagi di sini sudah disupport dari Intel, disupport juga dari para expert-expert yang hadir dari mancanegara. Nah, tinggal Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman nih implementasinya. Untuk yang mau mendapatkan recording dari webinar ini juga nanti mungkin bisa menghubungi teman-teman dari Synnex Metrodata Indonesia ataupun dari juga ataupun juga Intel ya, untuk nanti kita mungkin bisa kirimkan nih recordingnya dari webinar ini, dia sambil dengerin sambil langsung dipraktekkan seperti apa, apalagi tadi link-linknya sudah di-share. Semoga sudah di screen capture ya, atau jika tidak nanti kita juga akan bagikan slide-nya. Oke, baik Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, itu dia sesi kita pada hari ini, dan saya mau mengingatkan bahwa kita tidak hanya berhenti sampai di sini saja, tapi kita masih akan ada acara-acara berikutnya. Nah, ini for the next schedule training, paling terdekat adalah pada tanggal 7 Juli 2021. Nah, ini siang hari nih ya. Ini kita akan membahas terkait dengan temanya Advanced MRS or RRQ to meet edge computing needs. Nah, saya yakin Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang hadir di sini, ini semangat ingin tahunya luar biasa, semangat ingin jadi produsen solusi-solusi ini luar biasa. Jadi silahkan juga ya untuk bergabung ke sesi training selanjutnya. Dan tentunya besok untuk tanggal 7 Juli 2021 ini kita akan membahas bersama dengan expert ya, Mr. Erwin Tiu, as a Regional Sales Manager Embedded IoT Sector Head ASEAN, ya tentunya, dan Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman silahkan untuk men-scan QR code-nya. Kita akan ngobrol-ngobrol bareng tentunya ya minggu depan dengan expert yang hadir di sini dari Singapura. So sekali lagi jangan sia-siakan kesempatannya, silahkan untuk daftar registrasi dan juga bergabung di webinar kita pada tanggal 7 Juli 2021, seminggu ya. Ini tepat sama seperti hari ini di hari Rabu ya. Baik, dan saya ingatkan kembali bahwa kita juga akan di hari ini ya, kita mencari early bird ya, program early bird. Kita ada program early bird sehingga untuk Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman yang sudah hadir di sini, tentunya nanti kita akan hubungi 5 orang yang daftar lebih awal, tentunya untuk kita kirimkan hadiah uang digitalnya. Baik, Bapak Ibu dan juga teman-teman, saya kira sampai di sini acara kita pada hari ini. Tentunya sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih banyak atas partisipasinya. Semoga pemaparan yang diberikan tadi ini bisa benar-benar dimengerti ya, bisa menjadi insight tambahan pengetahuan, dan semoga silaturahmi dengan Synnex Metrodata Indonesia dan juga Intel senantiasa terjalin, dan semoga pemaparan yang tadi diberikan ini benar-benar bisa dimengerti. Jangan lupa sekali lagi diimplementasikan. Akhir kata saya Sandra Isana pamit undur diri. See you, have a nice day, stay healthy everyone, and bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Stay healthy.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Sandra. Bye.
Thank you so much.